In this video, I'm going to show you how to insert reactive lifelines. Lifelines are a great way of protecting your work, especially when inserted proactively. And I've provided a link in the description field below for my video on proactive lifelines. Proactive would mean that you insert the lifeline before you've made a mistake. But let's say you didn't insert a lifeline, if you're like me and sometimes you get lazy and you don't want to spend the time to insert a lifeline, and then you realize you've made a mistake in your work. What do? Do you take off all the stitches and try to, take them off one by one, spend time doing that? So the way to avoid having to do that is to insert a reactive lifeline. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you here with this swatch that I've knit up with this super bulky yarn, just so that you can see the stitches a little bit better. And it's just a stockinette stitch sample that I've done here, and you'll notice that I inserted a few errors right here in this row. I wasn't paying attention, I was talking on the phone, let's say, and I accidentally put in a couple knit stitches when I should have been doing all purl stitches on the row, and so now I have some errors. So what you can do is you can go a row or two below that row and insert a reactive lifeline. So to insert a reactive lifeline, you just need, just like the proactive lifeline, you need a tapestry needle or darning needle and some contrasting yarn that is thinner, preferably thinner than your current working yarn. And what you want to do is, you'll notice how in each of these stitches you've got these V's, right? When you're doing the knit stitch on the, or the purl stitch on the other side, you've got the V's that show up on this side. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go one row below, or maybe I'm actually going to pick another row below just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to go down to this row and I'm going to track this row all the way to the end. Okay. And in that V, I'm going to start inserting my needle through the right leg of each V. Okay. So here you go. Here's that row. And here's the first V, which is sometimes a little bit hard to discern, which is why I'm using this big yarn to show you. Here's the V. I'm going to insert it right here into that V. Okay, so that's my first stitch. Now I've cast on 12 stitches for this demonstration, so I want to make sure that I'm actually inserting it into the right leg of each of the 12 V's. So here's my first one. And you want to be sure that you are following it along the same row. Okay, having a ruler of some sorts can also help, but with this bulky yarn I should be able to pass it through, I think, just fine. So here we go. That was the first one. Now here's the second V. I'm going to insert it through that leg. Third V, fourth, fifth, sixth, and 7. And just make sure you're not splitting the yarn. You're actually passing it through the entire V of that, or leg of that V of that stitch. And one more, and one more, and here's my last V. I'm going to insert it right there. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I have 12. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, I have 13. I must have picked up an extra one. Or did I have 13 stitches? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Oh, actually, I do have 13 stitches. Okay, never mind. I thought I had 12, but I have 13. Okay, so it's correct. I've picked up 13 V's. And now I have my reactive lifeline in place. I could do this, pull my wrong stitches. Now, in this case, if you didn't have a lifeline and your stitches were neat enough or even enough, then at this point you could just insert your needle and try to pick the stitches up. But your yarn is always not going to be this bulky and your pattern is always not necessarily going to be this simple. And so if that's the case, then this is the best way to ensure your stitches are all caught on that lifeline. And when you get to that point, then all you have to do is take your needle and insert it into all the stitches, and then you can continue knitting. Now, once you've inserted it into all the stitches, you can decide to leave your lifeline in place without taking it off. You could just leave it in place and continue knitting. Just be sure that on the next row, when you're knitting your next row, that you are not picking up that lifeline, but instead you are just picking up the stitch. And this is a good point to verify that all your stitches are on correct. As you knit that next row, if some of your stitches have split, then that's your chance to fix them. But then you just keep knitting, and this way now you just have a lifeline in place if needed, or you can choose to take it out at this point. And this is how you would insert a reactive lifeline. So remember, proactive lifeline if you want to have it before you make any mistakes or to fix mistakes. A reactive lifeline. Thanks for watching.